and do the same thing. Frame on my selection. And just bring it all the way around. Like so. I'm going to deselect these edges here with Control and just Shift Select up here. I just want to tuck it up and under and cut that. And go back to my edge loop tool with B and cut it right down the spine. Again, Shift selecting this extra edge and cut. Go back to island mode, fold. So as you can see how quick this is and how amazing this solver is. I find it a lot better for organic materials, organic surfaces. And the solver is one of the fastest ones on the market, and it's very, very good. As you can see, if we go back to the checker grid, increase this, just does an incredible solve so quickly for a lot of these really tough pieces. And like I said, I'm not worrying about organization at this point, just cutting stuff up. So now I'm going to worry about the nose. And as you can see, the edge loops aren't really that great. I think, yeah, that one's not so bad. It's a little high. I want to get this loop here. So I'm going to do shortest distance tool. I'm just going to carve this nostril out like so. And I'm going to do the same thing here. Oh, sorry, I'm going to cut that first and pick it up on the other side. Like so. Unfold those, move those out of the way. Again, not so worried about the stretching because it's inside the nose. I mean, if I really want to be a stickler, I could just go in here, go back to the edge mode with the edge loop tool, and cut that up. Shift select all these and unfold them again, and there you go. Now they're nice and even. So, not a big deal. But it's, again, inside the nose. Just another seam I have to clean up, but not a big deal. Now comes one of the trickier parts, is the inner mouth bag. Because usually the mouths are closed, so it's kind of hard to tell what you're doing. So what I like to do is go back to my edge, go back to the edge loop tool, and just select an edge for now and see how it looks. I'm going to go into wireframe mode and see. That seems pretty good. I'm going to see if I can get even closer to the opening. Something like that. And I'm happy with that. It's a bit closer to the mouth, so the solve's going to be a bit easier. And this edge loop tool is fantastic because it really does very quick edge loops. So I'm going to cut that. And since we're not painting inside the mouth, I'm not too worried about it, so I'm just going to do another edge loop cut here. I'm going to grab these two pieces, unfold them, and then move them out. Again, we're not worried about the inside of this mouth, so it's not a big concern for us. So now most of that is cut. So now I'm going to do the big cuts here. Fortunately, there are no inner eye bags for this head, although it does go kind of in, and that's going to be kind of a problem. So I'm actually, before we do the big cuts, I'm going to actually cut this along the tear line so we can just make sure we get everything nice and covered, because I'm not so worried about this section here because it's on the inside. I just want to make sure it's not going to screw up the solve when we go to flatten stuff. And I'm just going to cut it along each edge. like so. Same for this piece. There we go. Cut those. I'm going to grab these pieces here. Actually, I don't think that cut. Yeah, sorry. I'm going to have to cut this again. And grab these pieces here. And this piece here, and then solve those. I'm going to drag them out. So we'll organize those later. Now on to the big pieces. So I like to cut the back of the head first. So I'm just going to cut straight down the side of the ear on both sides, and then the top of the head. Something like that. And make sure we get all the way to the edge. Cool. Cut that off. Grab the back of the head and solve it. Now, this is a pretty big piece. I know I'm gonna want to cut this up some more because I'm gonna have to cut it up anyway to get the proper real estate. I'll do this in a second, but I'll show you why I'm going to cut this up again. But before I do that, let me cut the rest of the face up. So I like to cut the jaw off somewhere around there. Again, it's not an exact science. I'm just finding logical places from my experience that I like to cut up. And yeah, the chin's going to be a problem here for stretching. So if we go back to the checker grid and tile this out, it's not awful, and quite frankly we should be able to get away with it. However, I want to make sure that's a bit more even. But you know, sometimes texture stretching can be an advantage. Sometimes because of the way we do pores, say you were to do a tileable texture on here, this kind of stretching would be really good because it will give you different variation on the skin. However, for my purposes, I know that's not going to be a result that I like because I'm going to be projecting most of this anyway. So I'm actually going to cut it right down the middle and solve it again. There we go. That's much better. And then for the face, I'm going to grab the entire head, solve it. And you can see how fast this is. It's like incredibly fast for how organic this is, and there's no overlapping. The solve is just really amazing. So the nose is always a problem area. As you can see, if we tile these numbers out, there's always going to be a problem area for getting really nice fine detail. So again, what I'm going to do is literally just cut it right down the middle, like so, and solve it. And there you go. So if we were to put the checker grid on, actually sorry, the numbered one, tile it out, we get really beautiful UVs. And that only took 20 minutes. So this program I absolutely love for doing organic characters. I will go into UVing the eyes a bit later, but I just wanted to go through the skin at this point. So before I go, I want to talk about the head here. So before I actually bring it into Maya and do organization, I'm going to grab all these, and I want to just kind of think about knowing that this is probably going to be one UV set here, this face, but I want to maximize this. So I'm going to shift select everything and then just scale it up a bit. And see if I can get a better fit and maximize the space. For this headpiece here. Awesome. So if I were to take this headpiece, actually this works in our favor. So as you can see, this will fit directly into a tile, which is really good. So for now, I'm happy with the scale everything. So I'm going to save this as a new version. So it'll save it as head for UVs 1001, and I'm going to bring this into Maya and organize it. So in the next section, because I don't want this video to go too long because we have to keep it in segments, the next section I'm going to quickly bring this into Maya and talk a bit more about organization and UVs and resolution.